Good morning, everybody. Wisconsin State Senator Romaine Quinn is back for his monthly chat. Today, Thursday, April 25th, and it's loud, 2024. For DrydenWire.com, I'm Ben Dryden, and you are watching DrydenWire Live, presented by Americans for Prosperity Wisconsin. AFP Wisconsin works to reignite the American dream and break down government barriers that hold us back from our full potential. Find an event near you at afpwisconsin.com and join AFP to fight for more freedom for all Wisconsinites. As a reminder, Senator Quinn joins us live on the last Thursday of every month right here on DrydenWire Live. If you've missed any of our previous shows, you can find a recording on our website at DrydenWire.com, right here on our Facebook page under the videos tab, or of course just on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search DrydenWire. Romaine, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
That
intro was loud on my computer. I had to turn it down.
Yeah, mine too. Like, holy cow. Jeepers. Yeah, and everything seems like really slow. I don't know if it's my computer or what. Anyway, hey, you were off last month. What were you doing? You missed your first monthly show was last month.
I know. I broke up with you for.
Yeah,
I took a break.
I was very distraught. Yes. Yes.
Gosh, I don't even know what I had going on. I think I messaged you like the day before, or maybe it was the week before, so I knew I wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
And I said, the day is shot. Not making her.
Yeah.
But no, glad to be back. It's always busy, always something happening. I always try to catch your other shows to stay abreast of what everyone else is talking about. So, and how that intertwines with our show potentially.
Yeah. Did you see the one with Adam Jarko? That was awesome. I love that guy.
I did. He's a hoot. He's a pot stirrer.
What? Adam, what are you talking about? That's crazy.
Yeah, he sits there in his office during the day and goes like this. Yeah.
I know it. And then people get upset and he just loves it. Like that just encourages him to do it more, folks.
No, he's great. I hadn't seen him in a while until we both shot up to Grantsburg for the kickoff for Duke Tucker's assembly race. Because, Gay's retiring. I think you guys went over it in the show. I only caught the first bit. But, so that was a fun event. Up in Grantsburg, and had a great kickoff. And any assembly candidate who can throw a first event and put 70 people in the room, that's a big deal. It's always a boost to the campaign as you're kicking it off. So I look forward to that. Duke's a great guy. I've had an opportunity to work with him on a number of issues this last year during my term in the Senate. So I look forward to working with him.
Well, he's going to be on the show. So next week we have we usually do Tuesdays and Thursday shows. So Fitzy now, of course, will be on Tuesday for a regular show. Thursday, a week from today, is going to be Duke. So awesome. I'm very much looking forward to talking to him. I talked to him for like 5 minutes on the phone 2 days ago, just to let him know how the process works. I don't really know that much about him, other than I think his name is awesome, Duke Tucker.
Right.
So, I can't wait to learn more. And he was starting to tell me, he's like, all right, so here's where I'm from. I'm like, no, don't tell me now. Let's do it on a live show. I want to wait until then. And then actually on Friday, this just got done yesterday, and I know very little. But maybe an executive, or I don't know what the title is. We're having somebody from the people that own or run the Brewers is going to be on.
Oh, really?
On Friday. I know. Someone I know works with them and said, hey, they're trying to get the message out that this isn't just Milwaukee County team. This is a state team. So they're trying to do some PR stuff, whatever. And he said, would you be interested in having them on? I'm like, sure. But you're going to have to send me like who it is, because I don't even know. So that'll be next Friday.
Well, hopefully they're on the show to thank the taxpayers of northwestern Wisconsin for
I'll bring
helping refurbish their stadium.
You're welcome.
Don't tell them that none of us up here voted for it, but tell them thanks for coming on your show.
I know. I'm like, oh, that's tough. That's tough.
I was going through the end of the year slip because I had my staff do like a run out, of like, what are our accomplishments? What bills did we pass, fail, didn't make it through? And then we always had talking points of the whole session. And I'm going through and I'm like, oh, yeah, tax cuts, la-da-da-da-da. And all of a sudden it's like, Brewers stay through 2050. I'm like, oh, skip that one. Not that I don't want them to stay. I'm glad they're staying. Yeah. We want to keep the Brewers in Wisconsin, but I just didn't think we wanted to pay for it.
Yeah, you and I were on the same side of that one. Yeah, it is what it is. Why are you putting this together? Is we do every year or?
A good recap. Yeah, and I know the Chronotype wants to do like a year in review type of thing, and it's always good. Nice. Like we were putting this together, and I'm like, shoot, I forgot about half the stuff we did. I think we got about 17 bills passed. 6 of them are stuck in the assembly. 5 got vetoed. So, not a bad session.
Really? Because that sounds terrible.
Oh no, it's pretty good.
That's actually par for the course. If you had to put a grade on it, what would you give? What would you put?
Gosh, I don't know if I could grade myself, but it's hard to compare to, some people have the philosophy of don't go down there and pass anything because you're just adding to the bureaucratic state that makes our lives miserable. And then some are like, why didn't you pass more? We have some in our audience that are, or in the legislature, that are prolific bill writers, and I do not try to mirror them or catch them. Actually, I think mine were borderline exhaustive for our body, because by the time towards the end of caucus, they're like, oh gosh, another Quinn bill. And I'm like, really? I don't think we've had that many. Like, don't you have issues to deal with too?
Right.
But so everyone's a little different. Every office is a little different, but we try to make incremental steps in the right direction. So it's a good list, I think.
Well, if it's all right, I would kind of like to get to some of that thing on your list or what you've compiled so far. But first, I want to say good morning to Steve and to Mike Schaefer and to Representative Gay Magnifici. Gay, you may have missed it, but Duke Tucker is going to be on the show next Thursday. But because Mike, I see him chiming in, I got to ask you. Now, I don't think this was actually published on the Republican Party's page, his name, but the original version I had him in it. So there was something that someone sent me a screenshot of, like, this infographic. It had you on there, and then Fitzy, Sheriff Fitzgerald in Barron County, the district attorney in Barron County, Dave Armstrong, me, and then Mike Schaefer. That was the original one I saw. I'm like, how did Mike get what is going on? But then I saw, and I don't know who posted that. I don't know where it came from. But then I saw on the Barron County Republican page yesterday, I think, it actually had a version. I think they left Mike Schaefer out. I don't know why, which is fine. It's probably good for him. Not that he probably cares. But what was that all about?
Yeah, so as you know, we finally took back control of the Barron County Republican Party.
Yeah.
We've got a great board, a great chair, an enormous amount of talent. We've got our dinner coming up this Saturday, over 100 people attending. We're back to 200 paid members here in the county, and it's growing every day. Unfortunately, while the party was down and we had lost control of our Facebook page, someone decided to fill the void and create their own page. So the official page in Barron County is the Barron County Republican Party. So someone made a new page called the Republican Party of Barron County.
Oh, sure. Right. Oh,
and
sure.
So they made a fake picture with fake people, so it looks like their own board.
First of all, is that even? I'm assuming it's legal if you can do it. But isn't that like false representation?
I would argue yes. And they went so far as they have their own website and Twitter account to make them.
Somebody's got a lot of time on their hands.
Way too much time on their hands.
And a lot of anger.
Yeah, and it is. And the person running it hates me, hates Dave Armstrong, hates every member of the current Republican Party. So I don't think it's tied. Honestly, I don't think it's tied to the people that kind of got the boot recently, because some of them I just don't think are techie enough to do what this person's doing. So I don't know what it is. The state party is working to take it down. I don't care if you want to be like some offshoot, whatever, that's fine. But you can't try to call yourself something you're not.
Right. Somebody's personal page. Who cares?
Right.
Or like,
100%. I
hate the current Republican Party page.
Of Barron.
Fine.
Yep.
Right. Go ahead. But you're representing it. Is this is the official page, which that seems a little, I don't know, weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's eerily similar to someone else created like 2 more pages directly going after me called Senator Quinn Blocks Critics. So we made this page, and then one of them had an inappropriate picture.
I saw that. Somebody sent me a screenshot of them. Like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah, they took our Christmas photo and put her naked on there. So really appreciated that, guy, if you're listening. Fortunately, the Barron County Sheriff's Department is kind of working on who you are. So hopefully you get to meet someone soon from the Sheriff's Department, because you don't do that kind of stuff, right? If you want to criticize
the line
or me or whatever I'm doing, go right ahead. But, you leave people's families out of it. They're just a private citizen, and they're going to be treated the same. So if you're going to do that to someone, make fake photos of a private citizen they're going to reach out to law enforcement. So,
As they should.
If the person is watching the show, hopefully you get a knock on the door soon. But we'll see how that plays out.
So that's where this infographic, but this graphic came.
Oh,
because I think it was like yours was yeah. I think it said like Romaine. I think it was something about drugs. I didn't really understand what this was all about, but like you were pushing.
So I'm at the top. I perpetuate the war on drugs.
Sure.
Just so I can't remember the order. Just so Fitz has something
Fitz
to
can
do.
Arrest you.
Arrest people, and then Fitz gives them to Brian Wright, so he has something to do. He'll prosecute you, and then they tied in Dave.
I feel like that one was a little off because it was like then he can drug test you. So I'm like, what?
Would have been Dave and I at the top together, yeah. And then at the end comes in Mike Schaefer for the save.
Well, me too. Then I came in next because then I can promote in something else. I don't know.
You needed something to report, so you get to report all the crime staff in DrydenWire, and then Mike gets to swoop in and be the pill pusher. Since
my goodness,
Mike's here to save the day with pills and
it's priceless.
And other treatment that you don't need or who knows what. But anyway, it was great.
It was. Outside of the fact that it's wildly inappropriate and wow, that's very dangerous. Be very careful doing that. I would not recommend anybody doing something like that. Right. But you just have to laugh at it, and it was so funny. Right. I laughed so hard when somebody sent me that.
Yeah. So the real Barron County Republican Party page shared this in another post saying, we apologize to any officials or public citizens who are being wrapped up in this page. It's not us. They're not an arm of the Republican Party, and they're pretending to be us. And so, hopefully this gets taken care of.
Yeah, I would think like even Facebook would be like, okay, like you can't pretend to be an official whatever. Oh yeah, there you go. Propagandist Ben is with. All right. Hey, nice.
I like Propagandist
Ben. Yeah, it's got a nice ring to it. I like that. Maybe we'll start calling it the show.
That's your new name.
Propagandist Live. Ben Dryden. Let's just own it. Oh my goodness. So here is a nice little announcement from Shasta. Thank you so much. Rice Lake City Council, again, congratulations. There will be a rally to support childcare and discuss equitable state investments. Providers, parents, business owners, and other invested parties are invited to the Wisconsin State Capitol on Saturday, May 18th from 2 to 5. So hey, thank you so much, Shasta, for putting that in.
How come I can't see that under my guest column? I can see Mike's and Steve's comments, but I don't
know. You probably banned all those people or something.
Because I don't see the good mornings from Gay. I don't see.
I'll put them on the screen, so at least you'll be. That's weird that you're not able to.
I'm getting like half.
Okay, Mike says I'm just wondering how I got included in such esteemed. Yeah, no, it was great. Yeah, poor Mike. I remember even thinking I text Fitzy this. I sent him that photo when I got it like a few days ago. And his first thought was, how'd Mike get roped into this?
Right.
I don't know.
They're a watcher of your show, so they made a connection.
There you go. There's a lesson for you. Never come on the show or you're going to be used in some propaganda.
Yep.
What a mess.
No, back to Shasta's comment. Yes, congratulations on your election. I think she had emailed, and I apologize, I didn't get back to her, just asking how my first time on council was like, but yeah, you just kind of drink with a fire hose and do your best. And as long as your heart's in the right place, it always works out. But I'll have to check on that. I don't think I'll be going to the Capitol on a Saturday, but let me know how that goes.
Well, that's different for you.
Not that it's not important, right? I mean, every issue people rally about in the building is important, but she's going to be a quiet one on Saturday because most legislators aren't in right now.
Well, hopefully Shasta can get a whole bunch of other people going down there so it won't be as quiet. But yeah. And Shabana, she's such a sweet. I like Shabana. The fake Barron Republican Party has maybe had a mammoth on their page instead of elephant.
If their profile picture is a mammoth, yeah. So that could be like the new direction of the party.
Oh, you just can't make this stuff up.
Now the hairy elephant party, not the regular elephants anymore.
You know what? I should have prepared. I should have actually had that graphic ready, so I could have put it up. Oh, good morning, Representative Angie Sapek. Hey, speaking of Angie Sapek, who's running up in the? It's still called the 73rd, right?
I
up
believe
there,
so.
right? But it's just like the sliver, like Superior and Ashland. It's 75% Democrat. Angie had announced that she wasn't running again. That was the last I heard. I'm assuming that's still
Yep.
true. Have you heard either Republican or Democrat running for that seat?
I'm guessing Angie's previous opponent's going to run. I wouldn't be surprised if my former opponent maybe tries to take a run at it.
So
Since
that'd be
the seat-
Laura Gapsky, but I think she was just
Yep.
on the board or something. Well, whatever. Laura Gapsky, and then who's your previous opponent?
Kelly Westland had ran.
Oh, that's right, Kelly Westland. Yeah.
And I think the seat should encompass Ashland, so she'd have an opportunity as well.
Sure. Well, Angie, right there. John
there's
Adams, don't know who that is, and Laura Gapsky on the Dem ticket so far. Okay, yeah, no Republican. I mean, I don't know why a Republican would run for that seat, unless you just want like your name recognition or something, or just to be so we have some polling data. But that's an unwinnable seat up there now. It just is.
Yeah,
we talked about that a
like
couple months ago when they realigned it, and it's these seats were very competitive, and now it seems like some are really heavy Republican and some are really heavy Democrat, which kind of is contradictory to what we're trying to accomplish.
Right. Yeah, it totally the opposite, right?
Yeah.
If you want competitive seats where both parties have to throw up good candidates and work hard and compete, well, you got rid of that because that's what we had, and now we've got two seats. One guaranteed Republican's going to win, no doubt about it. Chan's Green, and then this seat will be open for the Dems to pick up, no doubt about it. So not competitive at all anymore.
And as we had mentioned at the beginning, Representative Gabe Magnifici had announced that she wasn't going to run again. Duke Tucker is running. I don't know if it's official. I think it's official. I think so. But our very good friend Neil Klein, he's been great to us. He's just a great human being. I think he was running, or at least he was going to. I believe he did what he was supposed to do, turn in paperwork and stuff. Okay. So I know of two there. Maybe there's more. And then
there's a third. There's a Jay Calhoun running as well.
Yeah.
I haven't personally met him. I don't know anything about him, but so there'll be at least three so far. Because remember, everyone's got time to pull papers. As long as you get your signatures in by June 1st, you can be on the ballot. So there could be at least three in that seat running.
And those are all Republican?
Yep.
Got it. And this is perfect timing because I was just going to bring this up as well. Thank you, Steve. Jimmy Boy had announced his retirement from the assembly. Were you surprised by that?
I had a lot of conversations with Jim. I think if the maps didn't, frankly, screw him over, sorry for lack of a better term, he probably would have ran one more time. But he's no spring chicken anymore either, and he'll tell you that. He jokes that he said, my sons kept telling me that if you keep running and I see you on TV and you sound like Joe Biden, we're going to disown you. So make sure you retire before you turn into that.
Yeah, that's tough
and
to
by
watch.
next session, Jim would have been 80. But Jim's great. I love Jimmy Boy. We came in the legislature at the same time back in 2014. Reminds me so much of my grandpa. I think there's, that generation still has a lot to offer, and we need a few of them. And each of our houses kind of keep us grounded. And
that's right.
Gonna miss that guy. So my favorite Jimmy Boy story, which just shows you the epitome of what a representative should be. We were leaving the assembly one night. It was some long floor session. I think we got out at like 11 o'clock. And so I'm walking across the Capitol heading to my hotel. And I passed Jim and I said, Jim, if you want to stay up for one, I'll just buy you a beer before we go to bed. And he said, no, I'm going home. And I said, Jim, it's 11 o'clock. Why are you going home? By the time you get to Glen Flora, it's going to be 3 a.m. And he said, I already promised I was going to play taps at a funeral tomorrow morning and I'm not going to miss it. So he got in his car and drove home to Glen Flora, got home probably 4 o'clock in the morning so he could get up and be there to play taps the next morning. So, yeah, those are the kind of human beings you want in public office.
That pulls on the heartstrings a little.
Yep.
And I get emotional easy, so.
Yep. Gotcha.
Shabana said it's June 3rd now. June 1st is a Saturday, so it's June 3rd by 5 p.m.
Sorry, you rock. Yes.
Thank you, Shabana. Actually, that's good to know.
Yep.
I think at this point, though, you probably already pulled your papers.
First, the last few years, I think. The way
Got it.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Shabana. So going back to your list, some of the things that when you're compiling, it sounds like it's not finished yet, but you're getting it ready. Is there anything that stood out to you? You know what? Hold on. Let's get to that in 15 seconds after a word from Spooner Health.
Compassion is at the center of everything we do. It's rooted in who we are and why we're here. It unites us as providers, neighbors, and as a community. Learn more at spoonerhealth.com.
All right. So what stands out to you right away? The one that we're like, man, if nothing else got accomplished, this, or maybe there's a couple of those, so happy this got done.
Well, I just want to say, after seeing that commercial, if I get sick, I'm going to Spooner Health.
I don't know. I saw an infographic that said maybe. Anyway, let's not go back to that. So
Bill,
what stands out to you?
Yeah, so I already printed some stuff off this morning because I have to actually get back to Michelle at the chronotype today. But,
Sure.
Obviously, every bill is important on some level to someone, but some are obviously bigger than others.
Sure.
And so in terms of their impact or, the change that it creates, but they're all important some way, shape, or form. Like, for instance, we did one that allows school board members to be school bus drivers.
I remember
They were not
that
allowed
one.
to do that. Right. So not earth-shattering, nothing crazy, but in small rural school districts, frankly, these board members are already doing it. So
Little
we just
things
tried
make a big difference. That's right.
not make them criminals. Right. Yep. So that was a simple one. We did the senior care 100-day supply for medicine. So instead of every 28 days, you can get it for 100 days.
I think that impacted a lot more people.
I think it will. Yep.
Right, 100%. Right. So just real quickly, go over that. Go over that real quick for people who didn't see that.
Right. So during the pandemic, those prescriptions were waived from 28-day prescriptions up to 100 days. And we saw how much good it did. And so after the pandemic restrictions or rules wore off, we went back to 28 days. And so we just made it permanent. We said from here on out, if you're on senior care and you're getting prescriptions through senior care, you can get a 100-day supply for those instead of 28 days. So it saves dispensing fees, it saves the state money, it saves you trips.
Right, because a lot of these individuals are senior citizens, of course.
Yep.
And sometimes it's hard, right, to figure out a ride or how do you get there, 28 days. I mean, that was so simple, but so brilliant. I loved that one. That was one of my favorite ones, not going to lie. And I know it wasn't just you, but no kidding. That was something that we needed.
I did that one just for you, Ben.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep. Had Ben in mind on that one.
Yeah.
AI disclosures and campaign ads. That's a big one. Senator Mark Spreitzer, my colleague from the other side of the aisle, came to me along with his counterpart in the assembly and said, we've got to do something about this. And so him and I are both on the elections and campaign committee and shared revenue committee. And so now if you cut a radio ad or create an ad that uses AI to basically generate images or alter images, you have to disclose it on the ad. So we've seen this in the presidential campaign already. We know someone made an AI voice of Donald Trump in the New Hampshire primary saying, vote one way or the other. I can't remember how it went, but it sounded just like Trump, right? So if you heard that radio ad, you're like, oh, Donald Trump said, go crap on Ron DeSantis or something, right? Yeah. So, and then let's go do that. Well, it was fake. It wasn't real. And so you have to disclose that. You can't pretend to be something you're not and not tell the public what you're doing. So you can do it. You can create the ad. You can,
just let people know,
but acknowledge it. So I think this is just the start. We're going to have to go much deeper on this because
I think we'll learn a lot after this election cycle.
I think we've got a task force this summer. The speaker is putting one on where they'll go really do a deep dive and see where we got to update our laws to catch up with artificial intelligence going forward. And this is just on the campaign side of things, not even, everything else that we deal with.
Yeah.
So,
real quick, I just got a text from a friend who's watching and said, wouldn't be a bad idea to not call someone a sweetheart. So, Shabana, if I offended you somehow by saying that you're a sweetheart, it wasn't from Shabana. Just saying. Apparently, it's you can't say those kinds of things anymore. I'm learning all the time.
Yeah. Shabana, you're just an average good person.
Yeah.
No, not too great, not too bad.
Goodness.
You're just really a nice person. Is nice? Is that offensive?
Yeah. Okay. Not offended. Thank you. Because you're the only one that should be offended. If you were anyone else, I don't care. I'm sorry. Keep going.
That's funny. We don't have to go through. There's 17. The DNR Habitat Work Plan. So every 2 years, the DNR has to actually create a work plan for all the lands we own. So then we can reassess it and say, okay, what are we doing? Is this working? Is it not working? And then how can the legislature weigh in? Because right now we don't know what we're doing with every parcel that we own across the state. Right. So this forces them to do that. So I think that's good. Gosh, we did our financial exploitation of elders, kind of similar to the prescription bill, trying to protect the financial wherewithal of our seniors. Baby boomers are retiring every day. They have a lot of assets, and they're getting scammed more and more. So right now, under state law, if you're in a community bank, you bank in Spooner, and you go, grandma goes in and she says, I would like to wire $20,000 because my grandson living out of state needs help with something.
Yeah.
And the banker goes, I think her grandsons are all in Spooner. Why would she be wiring that out? Right now, the banker can't stop that transaction. The banker can say, Grandma, I really don't feel comfortable with this. I think you could be getting scammed. Maybe take it some time or get them on the phone or do something, right? But
Sure.
They can't stop the transaction. And right now, they can't legally, I don't think, even call anybody to say, hey, your mom is about to wire out $20,000 to your kid who's not in Florida. He's actually in Spooner, right?
Yeah.
And so now our bill, we had a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of consternation over whether or not a bank should be able to stop your transaction, right? It's your money. You should have the freedom to move the money without that. But at the same time, we had to find a middle ground. We're losing billions of dollars just in Wisconsin every year. And so
that much?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now a banker can actually call a designated list of people. You might have someone else on your account with you, a son or daughter. You might have a sister or a brother, and you can add them to an account and a list. And so now that banker can call that list and say, hey, your sister's down here trying to wire money. We think it's fraud. Call her right now, right? So now we can at least alert family and friends. The only problem is 40% of the fraud comes from family. So you could put your sibling you could put your son or daughter on the account, and they're the ones that take all your money. So it won't stop that necessarily unless there's someone else on the list that we can call and say, hey, your sibling is stealing from your parents. You're on the list, so we're telling you. So it's unfortunate. I mean, the way you have to do this stuff, right? How do you steal from your mom or dad or your brother or sister?
No
But people
kidding.
do it. So that's an important build. So I think that's an important first step. We want to come back next session and maybe do a little more so we could say, okay, can we pause the transaction for 3 days? Give us time to research it so you're not actually out your money. Because once that wire goes out, if we know it's fake, you're never getting it back. The bank doesn't know you it back. You're never going to see it back. And so you could work your whole life and lose it in one silly incident.
Yeah.
So we don't want that to happen to anybody. All of our housing bills, the big housing package that we passed, one of those was specifically mine. So that's important. Remember, we invested the largest single investment into affordable housing ever in state history, $525 million, not giveaways, not grants, 0 to low interest loans to fill the gaps of financing to make sure these projects are getting off the ground. So what we went through and plugged the holes that we see in the marketplace to make sure these projects can start, because we know that, having a safe, affordable home is really the foundation for your success. And it's the foundation for the American dream, right? It's getting that home, building wealth, growing your family, fixing it up, creating equity, and eventually having that asset to sell someday as you retire or pass to your kids, right? That's the American dream. So right now, people are locked out of it. We don't have the inventory. With my other hat, my realtor hat on, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
So
affordable housing. Affordable, that seems like a buzzword. I think when people hear, or there's a connotation to it, and maybe even a negative connotation to it, where we hear affordable housing, that is for people in the lower tax bracket, poor people. So you're just going to build some slums somewhere or something. Help me understand what that means, the official, when it's affordable housing, because affordable is obviously subjective, right? At any tax bracket, if I can afford it, I can afford it, and not, etc. What does it mean, affordable? Is there if you make under this amount kind of a thing?
So actually, I used the wrong term. I should have said workforce, because if I say workforce housing, that eliminates the stigma of, it's
right, because there totally is. Like with affordable, it just is. It sounds like ugh. But it isn't. Exactly. But it just, for some reason, they're connected now.
So what we'll do is we target all of our bills to a percentage of the average household income in the county where the funds would go. So if you're in Madison, that looks a lot different than in Barron County or Washburn County, right?
Sure.
So an affordable home in Madison is probably $350,000. An affordable home in Washburn County is probably 180 to 250.
$350,000. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I didn't say the only thing for sale. I said
okay.
affordable. Yeah. And so we want to know, like, hey, what can a teacher and a police officer afford? What can an executive assistant at a dental clinic and their firefighter spouse afford, right? Like middle class workforce housing, not Section 8 voucher housing, anything like that. So we piecemealed it all together, right? Reconverting upstairs apartments that are abandoned on old main streets, reconverting commercial buildings, shopco buildings, others that could be converted into maybe multi-unit housing, infrastructure. Right now, if I need $1.5 million to put in the street, sewer, curb, water, gutter, and I have that gap in financing to get the project off the ground, the bank's not going to give me a loan for $1.5 million to put in infrastructure. How do they take that back if I default? They can't. It's an asset they can't sell. Right. And so how do we bridge that gap to say, okay, here's the money to get the infrastructure in. Now get the homes built. And then, pay us back as you sell the lots or build the homes, so on and so forth. So we try to get creative. We worked with every entity from the Builders Association to the League of Municipalities, because we also on the back end said we need to rethink the way we do housing, our zoning laws, our lot sizes and requirements. The way we used to think about housing clearly isn't working because we can't afford to build just plain old single family homes that are affordable anymore. So can we add mother-in-law suites in R1 zoning, right? It's typically banned, but if I want to build on 900 square feet on the back of my house and have my mother and father-in-law move in, why can't I do that? Why can't I have two residences on one lot? Things like that. So we worked hard to get creative, and hopefully we start producing more units sooner than later.
On that one specifically, and there's always going to be both sides, in terms of Republican and Democrat, you may have a few Republicans that don't like it or a few Democrats, and sometimes, as we know, it's like a straight party thing. Where was that one? Was that, because it sounds like that shouldn't be, but maybe it is. That one seems like it should be a bipartisan one, right? Because I think that helps everybody. Do you recall if it was, or we really had to push this through with a lot of Republican votes? Yeah,
most of them were, if I remember right. And it was bipartisan since the governor signed it technically. So yes, I think there was a few, I think, that were along party line. Some of our colleagues wanted a few more add-ins, things like that. But it's like, no, this is negotiated now. This is it. It's up or down. And that's where, as legislators, you have to make that decision all the time. It's not perfect. It may not be exactly what I want, but can I swallow it? Does it move the ball in the right direction? If it's not compromising my principles, can I vote for it even though I don't love it? These are the questions that we grapple with all the time. So unfortunately, some people are it's not even about being principled. I feel like I consider myself principled, right? But I'll vote for things that don't violate my principles just because they weren't exactly what I wanted.
Do you have an example of that? One that got done this session on your list that you're putting together where I didn't love it, but it was moving us in the right direction?
Oh, gosh. So I remember a bill. So there was a de-icer bill to standardize how you're supposed to throw salt out. So
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
It was a de-icer bill. Yeah. So it would create a certification for businesses that want to send their employees to know the best practices on how to throw out salt.
Where? Throw out salt where?
Like on commercial buildings, right? In front of sidewalks, streets, roads. So for private businesses, not your county guys.
Sure. Like storefront, brick and mortar building. Right. You have ice, you take some salt, you throw it out there. And this bill was going to do what?
So it would create a class you could take and you would be certified. So you could say your business is certified to maybe shield you in any lawsuits, right?
That
to say, look, you fell down, but we use best practices, so you shouldn't have fell down. So you can't sue the guy throwing the salt out, right? But on the flip side, I'm sitting here saying, no one that I know in northern Wisconsin is going to take a frickin' class on how to throw salt out onto a sidewalk, right? And so now does it open them up for litigation because now you're not certified?
Well, that was literally what I was thinking. Is that now that's passed, now you basically have to take that or you're opening yourself up to a potential lawsuit. So now everybody's going to have to take it. But I don't even know how many are going to take it.
Right. So our attorneys did tell us that it does not open up more liability, even though it's the first thing that came into my head.
Oh,
And I knew
okay.
this senator worked very hard on it for months and months, and this and that. And he needed one more vote, and I'm like, ugh, I think this bill is
Kind
whatever.
of dumb, a
I plugged,
little big government ish. Come on,
yeah.
I get it. So that's tough.
So it didn't cost us, it didn't cost taxpayers anything.
Love that.
I don't think it's unconstitutional. So I didn't necessarily violate any of my core principles
Right.
that I believe
On
in.
de-icing. Right.
But, yeah,
I didn't
I've
know you
got
even
a
had any.
real strong core on how we throw salt down.
So if it doesn't
Uh,
cost the taxpayers money and they have to go to a class, so the business must have to. It's not free, right? So you
yeah,
have to pay.
yeah, I think it's well, yeah, the businesses would opt in, they pay a fee to take the course, and I think that funds either DISPIS or whatever department holds the actual course or the certification. So anyway, silly stuff.
It is silly,
Um,
but
but
okay.
oh, you like this quick story. We have to have fun in the legislature too, right? So we don't pass a bill unless we have 17 votes on the floor, Republican votes. You need 17 out of 33, obviously, to pass any bill. And so we go to the floor, and on this particular bill, we get to the floor. It hasn't started, and we're chatting with some colleagues, and I'm saying, "Gosh, I didn't want to be the 17th vote on this bill. He promised me I wasn't. I don't want to be the guy that
Yeah.
let this
The
bill go through."
deciding what would be perceived as the deciding vote, even though
Yeah,
that's not how it works. But
right.
you're right. Okay.
So he promised me I wouldn't be it. So I'm like, okay, good. So we're talking amongst friends, and one of my colleagues didn't like it either, and I just said, well, don't be a baby. I said, vote no then. If you don't like it, vote no. And so he flipped his vote and didn't tell the author. So we go to the floor, and it's the first bill up, and it fails on the floor. We don't bring bills that fail.
Right.
And so we had to break the caucus. You've just seen everyone's face because, we plan on how the floor should run. Everyone's like, how did a bill fail that otherwise you don't bring it to the floor? And so we had to break for caucus, pause our floor session, go into an office and talk about, okay, who flipped and didn't tell someone? And I feel bad because Senator Stafsholt and I actually kind of got the senator to flip. And so we're sitting there like with our heads down, not telling anyone. But anyway, we had some fun with the bill. And then we came back to the floor and someone switched their vote and it passed.
Okay.
Pointless bill. Sorry, Senator, the author. I won't name you. But anyway, so there's a bill, long story short, that really didn't mean anything to me. But I voted yes because someday I know I might be down to a tight vote count on something that senator couldn't care less about, and I need him, right? So if it didn't compromise my principles, I will do what I need to do to be effective to make sure that I can get done what I need to get done for our district.
We talk about, a lot of people, I should say, talk about how they hate politics. And I can understand why, because of all the politics. But this
Right.
is how politics should work. Like, and you may not love it, but actually I think I'm perfectly fine with that. It's not a, hey, I get your vote. It's not a quid quo pro. But you're right. If it doesn't betray your principles and it's kind of and it doesn't cost anybody, okay, I'm fine because that could help me out later, which could actually benefit your district and something that you are passionate about.
Right.
Are most people receptive to that idea, or is it I don't like that?
I think it's a mixed bag. And like you said, it's not quid pro quo. It's not, well, they call it log rolling, right? If you vote for this, I'll vote for that. You can't do that. And those aren't the conversations we have.
Right.
It's just about building relationships, right? Like if there's 22 of us senators and 7 of them hate my guts, those 7 could kill every bill I have, right? So you have to get along. You have to build the relationships. You have to be able to do that to be effective. Now, I could just come down here and just vote no on everything and be a stick in the mud. And frankly, my job would be a lot easier.
Yeah, no kidding. That'd be easy. That'd be gravy.
Right. But then I wouldn't have a list of 17 things that we got done. And do those things matter more than, my personal opinion on some people or relationships I'd prefer not to have, but I do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll see the same about me. They're like, oh gosh, we have to pretend to be nice to Quinn so he votes for our stuff, but we hate that guy. So I'm sure
that's how it works.
I'm sure it goes 2 ways. But we have good people. I want to preface that we have good people in the legislature on both sides of the aisle. I don't agree with them all. I like them all as well, not all of them, but I like most of them.
Okay, now I'm not believing you. I mean,
there's a couple. Yeah, I struggle with a couple of the socialists in Milwaukee, but most of the legislature are good people, even if we disagree on the issues. And my Republican colleagues, I wouldn't trade any of them. They're all good people. They got great staff. Their hearts are in the right place. They all bring different backgrounds and experiences. Sometimes that I don't get. They don't get where I'm coming from sometimes. But at the end of the day, I would do anything for them. So
it's an exclusive club too. There has to be something to be said for that, right? I'm sure when Mike Schaefer is talking to all of his, I don't know, other place CEO, the health system thing, there's not that many people that do it. So you can agree and you can disagree and you can get heated, but when it's all at the end of the day, I hate cliches. At the end of the day,
yep,
you all have to work together.
Right.
And you're all in this. It's like when we see presidents, like former presidents hanging out sometimes. Or at a thing together and you see them laughing with each other and the public is just fired up. How in the world could, I don't know, Barack Obama be chatting and laughing with George Bush or something like that? It's
right.
Yeah, they didn't agree on a whole bunch of things, but that's an exclusive club too. Not many people get to do that, and they know what it's actually like. I'm just saying there has to be some level of that to it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes for those of us that have been in a couple of years, you're doing the job, you're going through the motions, and you got to sit there and think, wow, like I'm one of 33 people out of 5.7 million that get to do this job.
That's it, man.
It's a big deal.
That's legit. You are a big deal.
No, I didn't mean that. But I'm like, I in the world in my district pick me. But no, and that's why public service is truly an honor. It's truly a privilege. And being a politician gets a bad rap, whatever, but it's really important and it's a big deal. And it truly is a privilege to be able to serve people in this capacity. So,
all right. Well, on that, boy, you're laying it on thick there, buddy.
Laying it on thick. I'm not even up for election this year, right? So I'm just.
Well, well, according to Fitzy, every year is an election year. All right. So we're about out of time. What do you have coming up this week? It's Thursday. Or bills? I keep getting press releases from the governor because now is the time where he signs the bills, and we publish that stuff. As of right now, it's kind of a no. We have nothing really else going on, or there's still some things in the hopper.
No, so all of our bills have either been signed or thrown in the trash. So we have no more lingering out there, and we have our fair number that went in the trash. I shouldn't say went in the trash; they were vetoed. But no, we're done doing that. So we've got a number of pens. I sent my staff to the signing because you always want the pen. He signs 20 pens. He'd be like, "Oh, this is the pen for my bill." But of course, he signs them at random times in random places, so I can't make it on purpose. So then I send my staff. So they get to be in the picture because we all know our staff do 90% of all the work. So that's good anyway.
I'm going to start doing that with every check I sign for Jerusha. I'm going to get like 10 pens and sign each one. Right.
Yeah.
And commemorate this moment that I'm writing this check out.
Funny. Remember this pen. This check
on this historic day. I gave you some money.
I can just see that going well for you. You should try it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll need you here as a witness if I do it. So what do you have coming up this week then?
Gosh, I know today I've got some more Zooms I have to be on. This weekend, the Barron County Republican Party has their Lincoln Day dinner.
Not the Republican Party of Barron County, but the Barron County Republican Party.
Yeah, don't mix those two up. They're two very different entities.
Just to be clear.
One of them doesn't like you.
Yeah. Apparently. Jeez.
Yeah. And no, there's always something going on. And we've got, remember, the biggest district in the state. So every weekend there's something somewhere. I try to get everywhere we can, but.
Oh, right. So for you, is this something you look forward to? I mean, I know how passionate you are, and I'm not saying this I literally mean this. I've known you for years. Back when you were in the assembly, you were one of our first guests. You were our second guest ever on for a live show. But you were very passionate about the job that you do. You're not passionate about being, at least this is my impression of you over the years. I've never told you this, but you're not, the status of it isn't something that moves the needle for you. To be able to say, I'm an assembly rep, I'm a senator, I've never gotten that from you at all, but you're really passionate about it, and it actually shows in your staff as well. I've communicated with them, and they've been absolutely fantastic with us over the years. You can tell how much that you love doing what you do, but you're right now not able to do what you do because it's not in session. So now it goes into the second part of the job, which coming up this summer is parades and shaking hands and all the other events. Sometimes they're going to be really good, informative. I saw you at the 7th Congressional District Caucus here in Spooner a couple of weeks ago, and you get to talk to people and mingle. But some of them also have to be like, ugh, I don't want to go to this. So come on, be honest. Nobody's watching it. I swear, just between you and I. Are there some events that you're like, no, I hate this part of my job?
Off the record,
just us.
Every single event.
Oh my goodness!
All of them. Doesn't matter where it is. It takes me 3 hours to get there. All of them.
Okay. On that note, we're going to wrap it up. Special thank you to Wisconsin's 25th Senate District Senator Romaine Quinn for taking time to come on for our monthly chat today. I'll see all of you right back here on Tuesday when Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald and I will be back for our weekly episode of Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy. So until then, for DrydenWire.com, I'm Ben Dryden, saying thank you for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.